2016 Code Enforcement Committee to order. Approval of the May 2016 minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Have a second? And is there any discussion on the minutes? May minutes? A motion to approve? You got a motion to approve. Should we all vote? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, number 3, review of property tax freeze applications. 45 Divinity is the first one. This is the building that actually we had to do a lot of code enforcement on. The front porches were falling off. It was a three-story porch, and we took action there. And then the owner appealed action with the Building Code Board of Appeals, and her appeal was denied. But she subsequently lost the building to the bank. I think she was in foreclosure to begin with, and then someone else bought it. Dennis Bucci, I think his name is, and he finished restoring the building. So that's why it may not show all the work that was actually done there. But Dennis has gone through the whole interior, made it a nice place now. So I'd like to make a motion to approve this application. Is there any discussion on it? Have a second on the motion?
Second.
And there's no discussion on 45. Anybody have any questions or anything? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Next one is 110 Prospect Street, and that still doesn't have a CO. The issues that I handed out in the building inspection notice dated 4/26/2016 still haven't been corrected by the owner, and there may be people living there without a CO. So I'm going to make a motion that it be denied, and we'll have to look into the time period for it also.
Is that right?
There's 2 buildings, there's two families. So there's 4 properties, 4 apartments on one property. And the owner seems to think that it's okay to not finish correcting the issues, I guess. Just talked to Don this morning and Fran, the inspectors. And Don says that the stairs haven't been repaired. None of the stuff on this
So you have a whole list of stuff they haven't done yet,
yeah,
but they're
he's applying for tax-free, so. I don't want to just hand them out to people. If they deserve it, then it's fine. If not, then we shouldn't get it. And, so I'm going to make a motion to deny it, and based upon his failure to correct the building code outstanding issues, and that he's occupied it without benefit of a certificate of occupancy.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
What happens now without having a CO?
It's already been notified that people aren't supposed to be living there in writing, and my inspectors say when they show up, he moves them out for the day for inspections, but from what we found, he's still living there. And I talked to the state prosecutor about it, and I don't know where that's going to go. But once Dick comes back, we'll talk to him about it, see how to handle it. So we have to take a vote. All in favor of denying this application?
Aye.
Application denied. Just send them a letter. So it's- Number 4, discussion of team inspections, take any actions necessary. And I put on here 43 Irving Street and 1192 Burlington Avenue. I'll give it an update quick on 43 Irving Street. I just want, I think Tim was working on that, right? I went by there yesterday, and they finished the construction, but we just have to see if Tim's okay with what's been done. did you ask him, just have him give me a text on that? And that was one where front porches were falling off, and it was supposed to be just a repair, and the contractor found that the porches were too bad, so he rebuilt them all. And then after he was done, he said, well, I had to rebuild them all. But once you rebuild them all, you have to bring them up to code, and you need an extra staircase to get off that second floor porch. Anyway, long story short, he's made repairs, and it should be corrected now. 1192 Burlington Avenue has been going on for a long time. The guy's a scrap dealer. And we've had it cleaned up. We've had quite a few code enforcement issues there, and it's still going on. So, anybody else do you get anything in Public Works?
No, is that near the corner shrub?
Yeah, it's a few houses down from the corner of Shrub. So,
Have not had any problems lately.
all right, just so everybody knows what's going on with that. We'll have to take a look at that, Tom, and go back now. Time period should be up.
Yeah, last time I went by there was a dumpster, so I think they were actually cleaning up the yard, throwing things in the dumpster. It's the first time I've seen a dumpster there.
All right,
Yeah, remember we had a AIR out there last year to clean it up?
yeah, let's go by there today, tomorrow, see what's going on. Any other properties that you want to bring up, or?
I have a few sketchy ones on my desk right now, but I'll check them out first and
Okay.
make sure it's just not typical.
Okay. One, number 5, discussion of new properties of interest. 34 Collins Road, 59 Walker Street. I put them on because I've issued restore demolition notices. 34 Collins, after I issued the order, they got a reply back and they're marketing it. So that's why I wanted to bring it up, Rich, too, that there may be realtor's gonna go into the building, and they have approval to go in there to see what needs to be done to restore it. And I just asked them to let us know when they've got people coming that are gonna go in, so we don't think it's, the police gets a call that there's people breaking in,
Okay.
so hopefully that'll get resolved.
Are you gonna let me know when that's all?
Yeah, and I was gonna send you an email
Yeah.
when they're gonna go in.
Okay.
Hopefully they'll, and Scott Bain is from Baymar, is the realtor. 59 Walker Street, anybody have any correspondence from that owner? Nobody's here from BDA or anything?
Right.
So, did 59 Walker Street, did you hear anything about that, or?
No.
Can you ask them, see if they heard anything from that guy? Because they were involved, he was the guy who was gonna do the catering business or buy the Bristol Press or something.
59 Walton?
Yeah, and he owns that, and he was gonna restore it, and then it was gonna be a place for, I guess, employees or somebody to live. It's a 2-family.
Oh, something to do with the Bristol building?
Yeah, and,
Is that like the micro kitchen thing?
yeah, he was the guy who was gonna do that.
The Asian guy, right?
Yeah, and I haven't heard from him, I haven't heard anything, so I sent a restore, demolish order, because that's been vacant and boarded up for a while now.
That's a 2-family, you said, and the one on
Yeah.
Collins is a single.
Collins is single, yeah. Then we have several that are on demolition in next one. Does anybody have any new properties of interest to put on here? No? All right, number 6, update on demolition orders, take any action as necessary. 6 Ridge Road is down. Never got any response on that. 147 Hall Street is being in the process of being abated now. That's gonna come down. Turned out there was 10 liens. Apparently the woman just kept taking out mortgages on the house. So when it came time to close, they couldn't close because there was, and this is after months of waiting for them to do something. They had to go through probate court, and then, they had to get all the finances straightened with the people who were gonna buy it, and it went on and on and on. So I'm gonna demolish it. 163 King Street should be down if it's not down, it should be down shortly. Carpenter's been doing that one. It's another vacant abandoned house. That's been vacant and abandoned for about 4 or 5 years. 36 Eastview Street, Tom and I have been working on that. That's pretty bad. And there's a realtor involved in a bank, but I don't know if they're just playing with telling us they have a buyer, because when I ask for an actual contract to suspend the demolition, they don't come through, so, you know, I'm just telling you, because now water department, we're gonna go through with it, and, you know, as far as we can, until they stop it.
Is that a face front?
So that's,
Or is it in front of the alley? Does it face front of the alley? No, it's-
It does, but it's the second level up. It's not the one closest part of that, it's on the other side because of these feet.
so that's 5 that are on the demo list right now. All right, new business, by committee members, anything?
Hey, I got a bunch
Go
here.
ahead. Yeah.
345 Burlington Avenue, I've been working with that woman. It's on the corner of Burlington Avenue and Verge. It's been an eyesore in town for many years. We got the yard pretty much cleaned up. She worked really hard the last 3 to 4 weeks. There's still an issue with the rear porches. She's having a hard time getting quotes, but I'm gonna help her along with that process. She's supposed to be in contact with BDA. I don't know if you've had any conversations with her since the last one.
Not this week.
Okay, so that's gonna be going out for bid. 48 Ingram, we're gonna be issuing an order to clean that property up. That's behind the new CVS. There were a couple of condos put up there by the Tobacco Brothers. This is the property right next door. I think it's a 3-family, but our concern is the yard, so we're gonna have that cleaned up. 29 Lincoln Place, I was working with that owner. He basically complied and did a lot of work there. That's all cleaned up. 45 Country Lane, Guy and I went by there just the other day, and the woman that we were dealing with there, she cleaned her property up.
Is that the property where the resident in the back came in?
Yes, yep. I forget that gentleman's name.
Frank Stosky.
Yes, Frank, yeah, he came in complaining about that property. That's all cleaned up, as well as the other one on Stafford Avenue, the vacant home. That's come,
1621.
1621, that's come a long way. They just totally restored that property and cleaned up the yard. 115 Peck Lane, we were dealing with a tow truck out in front. They were parking illegally. J.J. Rowell truck, that came in from the police department. They're no longer parking there. 818 Pine Street, that's all the way down Pine on the right-hand side. We're gonna have that property cleaned up also. That's on the corner of
Is that the brick
Pine.
one?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Karen and I have been there too. Remember the fence and the awning was ripped, and it's like a multi-family brick building across from 99.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
keep getting complaints, so we're just gonna have it cleaned up now.
We're gonna have that cleaned up.
It was a mess about, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, and he cleaned it up, so I guess it must have gone back.
It's still really bad. The abutting property owner, Mrs. Long, if you're looking at the property to the left, there's a stockade fence that splits the property, and she's got debris blowing over there. The fence is broken. So we're gonna get that straightened out. And then they were storing a snow blower in the laundry room, so that's something you guys are interested in.
Yeah, it's a multifamily.
Okay, yeah, you can have Tim maybe talk to him on that. Let's see, what was it, 18 Pine, 86 Stafford, 86 Stafford Avenue. The owners came in, they pulled a permit, and they're gonna restore that property. They took most of the barn down.
Oh,
They're getting rid of some of the vehicles. It's on the corner of
Fair Street.
Stafford and Fair, and it's we've been getting quite a few complaints. They have a permit now, so hopefully they're gonna be restoring that property.
And we got complaints about that property behind it, the old George Granger one,
Yeah, the vacant lot on
Yeah.
Fair,
Michael Granger's.
I think Monica's working.
Yeah, they should, I sent them notice of violation,
Mhm.
talked to them. Their time should be up, because he asked for 30 days, so I need to go out this week.
All right.
Is that the one where all the cars are parked?
Yeah.
Carnival equipment, yeah, they have all kinds of stuff over there.
So, I mean, that's not supposed to be.
No.
Okay.
We had a single-family house, we got a complaint from the mayor's office, 26 Partridge Run. The guy had motor vehicles, unregistered motor vehicles in the yard, as well as the back of a box truck that he was using as a shed, and wrote the order, gave him 10 days to remove the box truck, and he appealed the order. It went to the building code of appeals, put on the case, and the building board of appeals came up with a resolution that the owner would have to turn that box truck into a shed. He'd have to pull a permit within 3 days, and then he had time to actually build a shed out of that structure with gable ends, a roof. So that was the resolution on 26 Partridge Run. We'll be checking back there, I guess, in a couple of months to see how he's making out. But Guy wanted me to just mention, Dick's not here today, but we need to come up with some language. Monica and I are gonna work with Dick to come up with some language for a definition of a shed for the city of Bristol and what we require, what our idea is of a shed, just so we don't run into this problem. A couple of the commissioners had said that, well, pods that are out there now, and temporary storage containers, that's gonna become an issue in the future, so we're gonna try to deal with that through a definition of a shed in the property maintenance code, as well as the zoning regulations.
Isn't there something now about the temporary units in the ordinances?
There's temporary accessory structures, but there's no definition of what one is. Just canvas covered ones, they did define that.
That's the only thing that's in there.
Now people are starting to use storage boxes.
Yeah, sure.
Is there anything against having a pod in your driveway for an extended period of time, for instance?
Not allowed.
Not allowed? Is there a time limit on it? Like, for example, I know someone that has a pod being delivered in a day or two, and they're fixing some kind of flood damage, probably gonna be on the flood in 2 weeks. Is that, and they're putting all the contents in the pod.
I mean, they're not allowed,
Okay.
so you can't have them, so
Like at all, or like,
no,
oh, really?
we don't have anything in our regulations that say you can have those.
Got it, okay.
So if it's not defined, it's not
Right.
allowed.
Right.
Oh, so if it doesn't say you can't have it,
It's a
then you
permitted
can't
use of
have it?
ordinance, right? Yeah, it's not permitted, specifically permitted, and it's not technically allowed.
That's zoning.
He threw you under the bus.
No, but that's just, that's the,
Right.
you know,
But that's
the premise of
what
zoning.
they said, if
It's
it's
not-
not in regulations, it's not allowed, that's why we gotta come up with something, because
Yeah.
this
So
is.
you could cite somebody without stating, without pointing back to,
No, there's there's language in the zoning regulations that say if it's not admitted, it's not allowed. Just paraphrasing.
And common sense is, they got a storage pod, they're moving, it's there for a month or something, that's fine, no one's ever done anything. But then you get people who decide, like this guy, I'm gonna get the back end of a truck, which is basically a storage pod,
limited.
and put a shed, yeah, or make it, and now it's a shed, and he lives in a nice neighborhood where it's out of character. And not that it's in character any neighborhood, but it's really out of character where he was putting it, in his driveway that was visible, and, he didn't even hide it in the woods, it was very visible, and the mayor's office received complaints, and it looked so out of place that, and then I think it made the situation worse by him cutting up cars next to it. So,
Who knew?
right, so that precipitated this whole thing. Mine said it wasn't allowed, Tom said it wasn't allowed. He said, well, where's it say that I can't have it? And it's gray about what is a shed and what isn't. We all have an idea of what a shed is. In the neighborhood, we have common sense. If you live in a nice neighborhood, you're not gonna put up a storage thing, but we need to define it because there's people that don't have the same thought patterns as we do. And, whereas most people do, not we, but there's the majority of people, so we're gonna have to change it. But no, we don't act on the pods now. We don't typically, because most people aren't gonna, it's owned by somebody else and it's there for a specific reason. They're gonna, the pod company's gonna say, I want my pod back. You can't keep it forever. So, and they must have a contract that, they pick it up after a certain date. But we're just gonna, that would be something that would be allowed, but it will say, you can only do it for so long. We have an issue with a trailer that zoning regs allow you to have a temporary use of a trailer while your house is being renovated if damaged by fire or something. Oh, there's people on Stafford, it's been going on for
I was just gonna ask you about that.
ever, yeah.
There's no process.
And the
progress
fence,
on the
Monica,
house.
They put a fence up, they put a stockade fence
Hey,
up,
where is this?
on Stafford Avenue.
just past St. Paul's on the right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the neighbors complaining about
Yeah.
that. But, I mean, they have a temporary trailer there. This is the house that caught fire,
Yeah.
and so they have 18 months to build.
Oh, there is a thing in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
18 months to rebuild it. and
They
so
put a stockade fence up in their front yard to make it worse.
They don't have a permit.
No. Well, if you didn't give it to them, we
I didn't
didn't.
give it to them.
No. But it's a 6-foot stockade fence they put on the end of the trailer, so let's call more of a,
Do they have a permit to rebuild the house?
Yeah.
did they finally come in with plans?
Yeah.
Okay, good, because the last time that Tom and I stopped there, there was a Bob.
I think it was back
Yeah,
in
Bob and
March.
I, we stopped there and she said the plans were just about ready to be submitted. And,
So they are.
insurance company, yeah, so, we're good. But these things will sit in the front yard like that forever, so
Right.
you just have to be careful. We issue a permit.
And I just have one more. We got a call about a basketball hoop on Green Street. Mr. Sherman called, and I told him that he needs to, I forwarded it to Sherry because she had brought it up at the last meeting. So, now that the police department is here, Spyro said that it's a public works issue because it's in the road. So, we need to come up with some kind of language to cover, basketball hoops.
I had opened a request on it last month when Jeff first called, and our street superintendent closed it, well, he didn't close it, he just said PD issue. So we have to make sure that everybody agrees on who's actually responsible for taking action on it. I also checked the ordinances, and the ordinance just says when there's a temporary, or if anybody wants to place some structure in the road, they have to get a permit by the Director of Public Works, which is ridiculous because we would never give a permit. That's intended for like a dumpster or something, if you needed to place a dumpster in the road temporarily. So we do need wording on that too, that has to get in front of the ordinance committee to say, how to word that. I had sent some.
Recreational equipment such as basketball hoops, soccer goals cannot be placed in the city streets right away
And I had sent something to Dick last month and never heard back, so.
And my suggestion would be just to write something up and then submit it to them to, look at to get to the ordinance committee, if you want. You can do it real easy, simple. Do you agree that there's something that's gotta be written up or done?
I
or-
do.
Rich?
Yeah,
Please,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, something.
All right, you want me to do it? And then I'll submit it to everybody, we'll pass it, Michelle will send it all around, email. And, what's the section that we should put it under?
The section that, right now, where it speaks about placing objects in the road is 21-5, placement of temporary obstructions restricted.
Okay.
So in the interim, I did call the street superintendent back and said, please just go get rid of it. I don't know if he'll listen to me or not, but I know he wants to be a nice guy, he wants to touch base with the owner. He did document in it that no one was home when he went to check on it. In an area like that, the dead end on Green Street, I don't know how you figure out who the owner is anyway, because there's so many units
Well,
around.
I know, you know, and it's been happening, I've been here 15 years, it happens every summer, but usually Public Works or police, you know, I'll get the call and I'll say, you know, Public Works or police, you know, can you tell them to get rid of the hoop? And then somebody will go out, talk to the kids, say, pull it off the street when you're done, don't leave it in the street or whatever. And then it takes care of itself, but.
Well, can't we just tag it, put a tag on it that says if this is, you know, it has to be removed, and if it's still here, we're gonna come back and get it. So you've at least warned them, and then, you know, if a week goes by or whatever
Yeah.
time frame, you just go
Well,
take
if we
it.
have an ordinance, then, you know, then it is enforceable, so.
Treat it like a car on the side of the road with a sticker on the window.
Right.
If it's at a dead end, how's it an obstruction? To what?
Well, fire engines,
People turn around.
We can move it.
Well, he's also saying, you know, he's
It's not
complaining
solid,
because
right?
the kids
It's
are
not-
playing and, you know, they're playing all night. When he's trying to sleep, they're in the street playing, screaming, whatever. I mean, I don't blame him, but, you know, this is over a month now, and he's trying to get something done, and we don't even know how to get it taken care of, so.
well, I'll write something up and then pass it around, and then you guys can decide what to do, take a vote on it. and see. Yeah,
Try to find out who it is.
right, just,
Give him a ticket.
usually it's just cop telling the kid, you know, okay, 10 o'clock. Move your hoop.
That's definitely, that's something else we could try.
Right.
The thing doing the roadway.
Yeah.
It's not something to do with that.
Right.
It's not right now.
Mhm.
Can you have it required to have a name and address of the owner on?
Well,
And if
we're
it's-
just
if
gonna
it
say they're
doesn't
not
have it,
allowed. Yeah, oh, well, just say they're not allowed in the street,
Oh,
and then, you know, if Public Works takes a few of them, then maybe it'll stop too. You don't wanna have to do that, you want them to just move it off.
You gotta put something in the paper too.
Yeah, I was gonna do a press release on it, but there's no, when I went to draft the press release, I couldn't cite an ordinance that said you can't do it. So I didn't wanna cite an ordinance that says apply to the Director of Public Works for a permit, because we don't want that to happen.
That's it. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any, updates? Monica, you wanna do update?
I have something new. We've been having a problem with used car dealers and repairs in town, the old ones, where people who came in 20 years ago and obtained a license. And then once their license expires, new people come in, and we have no way of, if there's a violation, most of them were just approved with no stipulations or conditions. So we've been having an issue with new licenses, people that want to come in, whereas, where was that one on the corner of,
Old Walk?
no,
Oh,
the one that had 50 registered
Oh, on
cars, the
Broad Road.
electrical?
Rod and Emmett.
That was a prime example of, we can't allow these to continue on like that, because there was nothing where we can go after them and say, okay, you're only allowed 10 cars.
no condition.
There were no conditions of approval, so I'm gonna be bringing this issue to the zoning commission too, because unless it has to go back before the commission. Well, we're more than 20,000, so it doesn't say they have to go back before the commission or what have you. So, but these are problems. The only two, or I should say, the only way we can get them sometimes is if they have unregistered vehicles, which they do. But these are blight. It creates a blight in these neighborhoods because we really can't legally enforce it, because there are no conditions, because the original approval was approved 25 years ago and they want an issue then. So we're working on that, because that's becoming a problem. And we want to be able to have some type of stipulation, or if the commission gives me the authority or a guy or someone the authority to say, hey, we can say, okay, this is approved, but, you know, you're only allowed 5 cars or 15 cars, depending on how big the site is. So, I'll be reporting back
Yeah,
because.
don't get me involved with that, it's your.
Okay, guys.
I gotta write an ordinance, because
You got enough on your
everybody's
hands.
plain face.
So anyway, if they give me the authority to be the administrative liaison to do that, then that's one thing we want to clarify.
Is there any type of permit process for being able to sell cars?
Well,
I mean, locally, not at the state level, but locally.
locally, what we've done, if there was a previous approval, we just let them come in there and do what they've done previously. The site can be a mess, you know what I mean? It could just be unregistered cars all over the place. We haven't, I don't know.
So you don't have anything to regulate what they do, how they do it?
Right. So, if we could just get that under control to figure out, okay, what the procedure would be, then at least that would give us a little more leg room to say, okay, we're gonna approve it, but, you know, you gotta be closed by this time, you know, we wanna know exactly what's going on, because the one on Broad Street, they had 3 different,
There was guys from New Haven.
Different owners.
Hartford.
yeah, it was different car repairs.
All under the same
Yeah.
permit use.
Right.
Right, so they were operating under one particular license, but there were 3 different people there. That, we can't have
Yeah,
that.
historically, it was people who were from Bristol that opened up the used car dealers, and they kind of regulated themselves.
Right.
So when the approvals were issued, they kind of took care of it themselves. I never really had too much issue as zoning officer back then, just a couple
Right.
spots. But we're finding now
Now,
that
ton of them.
there's just, people are coming in here wanting to open used car dealer places, and there's no conditions to say you're allowed 10 cars, and they're gonna be parked here, and no junk outside.
Right.
And they're bringing, the people that we found that are opening up these more vehicle uses of bringing
Others.
junk with them, like, you know, the bad habits, so to speak. So that's why it's come up now. Thanks, Monica. Seasonal update, tall grass, illegal dumping, graffiti. Bob's not here, he's gonna have him, Bob is our part-time code enforcement guy, he's been working on the tall grass, we all have. There's been a lot of them all of a sudden, a lot of complaints coming in. And we've had a problem with bark, was always cutting him for years. And they don't have anybody to cut it now all of a sudden. There's no notice or anything, it was just, we called them cut lawns, and there's nobody there to do it. I don't know what's going on, so we just are using the contractors we have right now to do that. So we got a little behind on it, tall grass. Illegal dumping, we've had a few issues with that, and got it cleaned up. Dave, if you have any, let us know. And graffiti, Bob's working on that, and any stuff you see, just send it to him. And then I put on here problems with property maintenance companies working for banks. Just wanted to highlight that. We've had quite a few problems, especially vacant properties, where they're making claims that they're maintaining it, and they don't do anything because they're sending the banks bills for work they're doing. So just to let everybody know, if you have any issues or correspondence with the property maintenance company, get it in writing, just so you have a record, because it'll come back and banks will say that they were notified of any of the work that was required, and they'll subsequently say that, you know, they're not responsible for the property or pay the bills, when it was the property maintenance company that told us that they were responsible. So just wanted to mention that. Any questions on number 7? Got number 8. Old business by committee members, any old business? No. Karen, hoarding seminar, you want to do just an update? We still moving along with our hoarding thing?
Yeah, I just reiterated that it should be a team approach, and then everybody kind of does what their codes require them to do or
Right.
allow them to do.
So when we have that here, we'll just continue that. Okay. All right, any more issues or before we adjourn?
Just two. First is 106 Judd Street. You guys have a file on it, but I don't think you have anything active on it. It's boarded up. I bought it last week, and I wanted to know, are you able to tell me if it would qualify for tax freeze assessment from memory, or is that something that's in the back?
I don't know, I don't what that is.
Something that, I mean, I'd have to look at it, the
Okay.
file.
Okay, I'll stop with after. The
Yeah.
other one, that was for me personally. The other one is through the West End Association. 864 Farmington Avenue is the plaza with Rod's Restaurant. And there's complaints from customers of the Old Port Fish House, which is an excellent business, by the way. I'm a customer, I'm a fan of theirs, but their dumpster is apparently very offensive smelling, being fish house and all, and the heat. And I don't know if there's any kind of ordinance against smell.
I don't know, health department,
There's one, they asked if can they be made to hold their waste in the cooler until the day before pickup day or something like that.
No.
I didn't know the answer, if there was anything against the smell.
okay. That's not anything we do.
I mean, I could check with Michelle, I
I
mean,
just pass it along.
they're supposed to have a dumpster, there's nothing that says where you can put it, you know, I don't know if they can move it maybe somewhere.
You know, we had that same issue with Chinese buffet in that plaza, remember?
Mm.
Where the crab legs and all that stuff, the waste was smelling a lot. I don't know what happened with that.
I don't know.
Maybe you just pass it along. They can check it out.
Karen, don't you have offensive odor ordinances that you could enforce?
I just think in solid waste, chapter 10, I think
Not
is,
odor was health department, I thought.
in what, I don't know where, I don't know.
I did it one other time, someone.
I'll check into it.
Yeah, just pass it along to Michelle and, you know, tell her Dave made a complaint, get it back to him.
Yeah.
Because it was that's not from the West End Association, though, is it?
So whenever someone brings me a complaint, they don't want to, they want to do it like anonymously or something like that.
Oh.
I just say it's through the West End Association.
Oh,
Because it's
okay.
not me personally making.
Because that's not in the West End, yeah, so we should just contact the health department if there's something, you know. It's probably someone, a tenant in that plaza who smells it all the time, I would imagine.
And she said it was customers of theirs. So because they're all store owners.
Yeah, why would customers just come in to buy something and leave, so it's probably a tenant. They should call the health department, talk to Michelle or whoever. All right, any more issues or anything we want to talk about?
Guy, that 3840 Stern Street, I know there was an email this morning, the guy's looking for barrels. He said people are moving in, so I know you said the CO hasn't been done yet, but he said he's got people moving in.
Don't give him the barrels until he gets the CO.
And he did go from an 8-family to a 4? Okay, because he's never qualified for service before.
They have one?
I thought they temporary seal only on 3 of the units, but he didn't pick up the paper yet.
So he's got to pay for his temporary CO.
Yeah, just let me know when, and then I'll
Okay.
have him deliver
All
barrels.
right.
And I can mail you.
Good. Any more issues? Have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.